Inside the Game, the podcast is live, episode number 2 this week, episode number 215. Woo! Overall, the horn is back, and we're ready to roll. And it is always a good morning when Ryan gets to spam that thing. But Ryan, you're talking a little bit before the start of the show today, just reminiscing on random minor leaguers, deep dives into the archives about who we remember seeing. You were bringing up the Lansing Lugnuts, which isn't far, obviously, away from either of us. Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero, who both played for that organization when they used to be affiliated with the Blue Jays, rather. And obviously now they're with, I keep saying the Oakland Athletics. It's going to take me a few years, and I guarantee you I'm going to continue to drop that on broadcasts from time to time because it's just, I'm not used to it. But the Athletics, wherever they are out there in the country, but affiliated with them now. But I've also seen some greats over my time, and I think that's what makes minor league baseball awesome. I know this is the soccer portion of our podcast, but like it's something that I don't think will ever necessarily go away during the summer because of the experience, because of the environment, and for dorks like myself who actually genuinely enjoy the sport to go out and watch future greats. You know, like I think Kevin McGonigal will be one of those players for the Tigers, the number 2 overall prospect in that top 100, which a lot of those lists coming out right now. I was just reading one from Keith Law before. Well, I'm just saying, Kev is going to be great. Not Tyrone Lorenzo. Well, he'll be great too, but I think he would be a really good trade piece. Josue Briseño, the most raw power I've ever seen during my time in West Michigan, hands down. And he's a catcher too, which is like, that's a diamond in the rough. Obviously Max is great as well. That doesn't really help in the way of like patience with Tigers fans being like, they want to win now. Understandably, I know they want to win now. And I know that Scott Harris is, but I gotta say, I do think he has a plan. But anyways, we were talking about some greats that we've seen throughout the years. Obviously I got Nick Castellanos, who is with the Whitecaps,
the worst timed home runs.
Eugenio Suarez was a West Michigan Whitecap. I saw him with the Caps when he was in Detroit.
He sucked in the postseason this year.
Yeah, he wasn't great, and I know that Tigers fans were like, "Go get him at the deadline," and that probably wouldn't have worked out all that well. Who knows? But and Curtis Granderson, oddly enough, was also played for the Whitecaps for, I don't know if it was a rehab or if it was what it was. Maglio Ordonez also came down. Anyways, I just had to kind of rub that in as much as I could because you're Detroit, so you get to see all the big teams over there, and you're a short throw from Ann Arbor, so you get to go to their games all the time, you know. So,
yeah, I would. Yeah,
we get Whitecaps baseball, so you don't get to experience that. Sorry.
Yeah, don't worry, people. We'll be talking about some U.S. men's national team youth prospects here today.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
2 players are going to be making moves here with European sides. One from the U.S. from the USL to Germany, and one from Liverpool to Porto. But no, you're right, because what basically spiraled this is I sent Nate a TikTok yesterday of I'm just doom scrolling there and trying to see if TikTok's working, and it seems like TikTok's working. Some of our views are back to normal. But I just saw a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. ground ball to Fernando Tatis, and I was like, that's the Lugnuts. And I just sent it to him. And by the way, for the people who don't know, Fernando Tatis Jr. is my favorite baseball player of all time. I've never seen an at bat of him, but he's my favorite simply because his walk-up music is My Girl by the Temptations. Simply my favorite player because of that reason. I hope he wins MVP every year. I don't care. I hope he wins MVP. But no, I think if we like look back at, I think everyone kind of likes to say like, oh, I watched so-and-so in high school football. I watched so-and-so in high school basketball. Like I got to see sophomore year Will Johnson play safety against my high school. Like I got to see that. Like I got to see a whole bunch of gosh, what school did he end up at? I forgot. I forgot what school from Roseville what school he ended up at. It was a basketball player. But there's a couple that made it a little bit bigger. But no, it was oh gosh, not Roseville, Dakota. Ryan Rollins, who now plays for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh yeah.
By the way, 1-0 against them. 1-0 against them. Just putting it out there. NBA players can't beat me. I didn't even play a single minute, but whatever. It's whatever. But no, it's great to see some of those like young players at a young age, just to say that, oh, I got to see so and so do that. But no,
Yeah.
it's great. It's great.
Yeah, well, and hopefully we can see some future greats on the soccer side of things too. We talked about Donovan Phillip yesterday, so let's get into the soccer conversation a little bit here in hour number one. Welcome back in, by the way, inside the game. We got Salt athletic bags very quickly before we get to this that we are giving away. We have a discount code for you guys. We'll show you, but that's exactly what what we got for you. Yeah, you can even use it as a mask. That's true. I didn't even think
It is
about that.
cold
You can put
outside,
smelly
so
stuff in
like
it.
I didn't
There you go.
think. Yeah, you could
You
use it
got a
as like
shield from the sun. There you go. Just wrap it around your face. Perfect.
yeah.
But
I'll
yeah, we
give
got
you.
about 100 of those puppies.
Yeah, well, I'll read this at the end, so stay all the way to the end if you want to hear more. If you miss it, but yeah, we have a live Salt Athletic bag giveaway, 21 weeks. We have 21 total bags. We'll be giving out every Friday. I think we're doing it over the or during the show. I think like on a wheel. I don't remember the exact thing, but if you head over to our Instagram, Nat Soccer TV, uh, give us a follow. Make sure you tag a friend in the comments, like it, and comment hashtag NSN Salt Giveaway. It's simply that's all. It's simple. That's all you have to do is just comment hashtag NSN Salt Giveaway. Drop us a follow, tag a friend in the comments, and you could win a Salt Athletic bag. I mean, honestly, even if you don't even play soccer or like you play pickup basketball, you could do it with that. Like that's where my basketball shoes will most likely end up
There
because
you
I
go.
don't like carrying them. Also, the aura
Yep.
in this bag, like if you like had like you're walking into like the field or like into the arena or something, and you're like one of those players, got like the bag, like it's all tucked in, you got your hair AirPods in, your aura goes up. So, you
Yeah.
should definitely have them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I mean, or, you got one hamper for all your dirty laundry and it's just been so long. Now it's starting to overflow. Jam a little bit in the Salt athletic bag, it's a
Yeah,
little
if
bit
you
of
don't want
extra
to do laundry.
storage for you. Yeah, yeah, exactly. If you just want to let it sit for like 2.5 weeks, you're good. But anyway, so make sure you give a follow, leave a comment. Everything that Ryan just said, get yourself one of those bags. Let's get into this news a little bit. I know you teased this one specifically, so may as well get into it. We got some transfer news, a couple of different players, U.S. men's national team representatives that are on the move. Got a handful of them. We've been talking about Josh Sargent already. There we go. I got it out. Potentially coming back to Toronto. Maybe some more news on that front. You also got Jedi and Alex Freeman getting some big time news. So, Ryan, you start wherever you want to start, but drop the news for us.
Yeah, this is just transfer news, and I think this will parlay into our next topic about USL or MLS pathway because some of these players are from the USL. But Alex Freeman, yesterday, it was confirmed that he'll be making a $4 million move to Villarreal in La Liga, of course. Freeman coming over from Orlando City FC. Still a young player, only 21. A lot of people think that he could be a starter in the World Cup, and I would agree with it. I could definitely see him being a starter. Not over my guy Noah Kai Banks though; he's a dog. But yeah, Freeman, and Freeman could have actually moved for a free at the end of this year, but decided to move over to Villarreal. If he plays a game this year, he will become the 25th American to play in the top 5 leagues all across Europe. So shout
Woo.
out to Alex Freeman and all of
Okay.
our Yanks abroad at this point. And then this one, this is kind of what has spiraled maybe that conversation of USL to or MLS pathway. Pedro Guimaraes will be leaving Orange County in the USL to join Frankfurt. This is just a 17-year-old Pedro Guimaraes, the left back, into
Hmm.
Frankfurt, in all the way into the Bundesliga. Whether he plays or not this year, that's a question, and time will only tell. But also, we talked about Ricardo Pepi yesterday. Is he going to Fulham? Now could he be going to West Ham? West Ham has currently entered the race for Ricardo Pepi. Of course, $38 million is the price tag on Ricardo Pepi, or at least that is what it's been reported that Fulham wants to offer. And then another 19-year-old, this time Kelro Figueroa, loan move to FC Porto with an option to buy for $4 million after the fact. That's right, 11 goals in 12 games in the English Premier League too. That's just kind of like the academy ranks, the youth ranks there. That has nothing to do with the championship, which Wrexham is in. a little bit later on Wrexham in this hour. But that's another big move. And if people who don't know what an option to buy means, it just means that after the loan move is over, there is a set price tag on if the club wants to exercise that option, but that is the price. They don't even have to negotiate the price anymore, but that is the option after the fact. And then this one is interesting. Yesterday, it was reported that in the summer, Jedi could be moving back to Merseyside, whether that's Everton or Liverpool. Seems to be leaning Liverpool over Everton at this point, simply because Andy Robertson is most likely on his way out, the long Scottish left back. The captain, he's been at the club forever. It feels like he could be on the move. Andy Robertson out to Tottenham, and Jedi Robinson could be his replacement. They really like. I think Robinson would thrive in this system. The overlapping runs that we see so much, the crosses into the box, that's the way he plays for Fulham. That's the way he plays for the U.S. men's national team. But I think a move, out of all these moves, I think the Jedi move would be huge because we've already known that Jedi is kind of arguably one of the best left backs in the Premier League already, before the injury, obviously. And he
Yeah.
goes to a big side like Liverpool who needs a new left back. They might be sending Shimikas back to Fulham in exchange for Antonee Robinson. So that opens up another outside back role for Antonee Robinson. But I think he would thrive in this system. The overlapping runs, the crosses, getting forward. That's the way Liverpool wants to play. I think it'd be a great move for Jedi. He's only 28 years old. Robertson on the way out. And I think this would be a phenomenal move for Jedi because he's a really good player, but can he take that next step? And Nate, this could be a conversation maybe for another day, or maybe we can have it today. But it feels like
Mm.
now that the Americans, they're making their way overseas, but it feels like we kind of need to see more Americans start to dominate at the bigger clubs. Like we see Pulisic, AC Milan, we see McKennie with Juventus. Tyler Adams at Bournemouth. Bournemouth, not a big club. Antonee Robinson doing it with Fulham. Fulham, not quite the level of what a Liverpool is, but if we can start to see some Americans dominate in the bigger clubs all across Europe, I think we could be in a really, really good spot with the men's national team.
Is it safe to say that Alex Freeman is one of those players, or can be one of those players?
I
I mean,
think
we
can be. I wouldn't say yet. I think can be
yeah,
is
and
a
it's
good one.
of course it's not a sure thing. I mean, he's coming out of the MLS. He is just 21 years old, so there are considerations. This is the trial period. Right? This is his first real shot at playing in European football. So for Alex Freeman, I think everything is on the table. But I had mentioned it that looking at the younger group, right? Like let's go from anywhere from the 17 to the 21-year-old group for the players that are either representing the U.S. men's national team, whether it be on the U20, and we've highlighted a lot of those players, whether it be someone like Alex Freeman, who is obviously just outside of that group. He's 21 years old, now transferring out of Orlando. We've seen what he's done with the U.S. men's national team. I believe that group and that crop of players, right, anywhere from 17 to 21 is the most promising group that we've seen developed in our home country and maybe in history. I think we have a strong, solid backbone in a base that continues to develop. And I think Alex Freeman is kind of head of that list. If I were to think of all those different players that I just mentioned, the U21s, you had talked about how, well, if they were good enough, they'd be on the senior team. That's probably fair, but I think Alex Freeman is the best of the bunch. And so this is just another indication of another American player out of Major League Soccer that's getting an opportunity to go really take his game to the next level in Europe. And I think he could really be, I understand that we want to see them dominate more, and that's obviously our goal all the time. But this is where it really starts, is moves like this. Now, the players that we already have, I think you just go on an individual basis. What Christian Pulisic doing is exceptional. I don't think anyone's taking away what Pulisic has done in Serie A, unless, of course, you're not from the States, you're from Europe, and you just disrespect the American game in general. Then obviously you're going to be willing to kind of pass up everything that he does. Tyler Adams, obviously not a bigger club, but I still think he's played great. Jedi is a different story. I think the injuries are concerning. I don't know if they've completely derailed his career, but you said, can he get back to where he was pre-injury? That's the biggest question for him. I think Chris Richards is starting to emerge as maybe not a superstar, but I certainly think he is an important key piece on a team that needs him in order to win big games, in order to win championships. I mean, he is what he is, and he's set in his position there. So, I think yeah, if we're gonna talk about we don't have a Messi or a Ronaldo or any of those top end players, well, I think Christian Pulisic is our best, but I think this is a building from the bottom up thing. I think Alex Freeman is certainly number one, or at least towards the top in that group.
No, I agree with you, and I think age plays a little bit of a factor at this point with a guy like
Yeah,
Alex Freeman. I mean,
right.
some of the guys that I listed there, Figueroa and Guimaraes. I mean, they're young
Yeah,
players. They're under 20 years old. I mean, at
yeah,
some point, like it's not like I don't think the U.S. will ever produce a Lamine Yamal or a Kylian Mbappe where they're killing it at age 16 or 17. That's just not the way that American
yeah,
soccer players at least operate. Like if we even look at Pulisic himself, he didn't. I mean, he didn't dominate the world at 17 or 18 years old. I mean, for the men's
yep,
national team, he was starting all the time at that young age. But if we look
yep,
at the grand scheme of things, in everything that he was doing at Dortmund, he wasn't playing week in week out, and even when he got to Chelsea, he struggled. I mean, also I don't know why you send any player to Chelsea if you're a young player. Don't go there. That's just too many players, bad situation, and your owner used to
yeah,
be boys with Putin. Just putting it out there, and that's why he had to sell to Todd Bowley. But I digress. But then he goes over to AC Milan, gets week in, week out soccer, and he's dominating. And I would like to see, I would like to see some of these Americans, really dominate in. Like I would like to ultimately see Gio Reyna dominate week in, week out with the Borussia Mönchengladbach, to be
yeah,
honest with you, I really would like a player to dominate for a team like Bayern Munich or Real Madrid, Man City, Arsenal, those Liverpools. Like I would love to see Jedi play for Liverpool, but in terms of American soccer players, they don't dominate at such a young age, and I think it's a really good
yeah.
move for Alex Freeman to get over from the MLS side over to gosh, where's he going? Villarreal, La Liga. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank on
Yeah,
that one there. But no, I think it's a really good move, and it just continues to show the growth of American soccer, and that maybe the MLS isn't a retirement league, because it's taking some of the better young players overseas. And
yep.
I think a lot of leagues around the world are starting to see potentially some of the quality that the MLS possesses.
Yeah, well, and that's just the thing though, is it is a prospect league, and we've seen that.
It's either
It is,
prospect league or
it
retired
a
players.
prospect league or a retirement league. Like that's the whole thing, is like you want to bridge it to where it's like somewhere in the middle, to where you're getting those players in their prime. It's just not at the moment. It's not something that the soccer world sees or that it respects. That's unfortunately, like that's just, it's the world we live in. But yeah, there's I mean, Noah Kai Banks is on that list. Not Paxton Aronson, right? I think is on that list as well, of the anywhere from 17 to 21 years old. Maybe he's a little bit older now, but there's a lot. There's a lot there. I don't think it's one of those things, Ryan. It's just going to take patience. It's going to happen. I think we're going to get a player at some point that emerges as a true superstar in the international stage rather, but we just don't have it right now. But I think anybody with two eyes and two ears can acknowledge that we're starting to make more of a footprint than we've ever made before. But let's take a quick break, bring it right back. I want to continue this conversation. We got a lot of good stuff to touch on there. Talk about USL versus MLS. It's always a really good talk, and obviously it's something that we've gotten into many a times before. But first, we want to tell you a little bit about some of the soccer camps we got coming up. FC Bayern Summer Soccer Camps are a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, fostering football excellence across North America. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, FC Bayern camps deliver elite training inspired by FC Bayern Munich's world-class philosophy. Select your city, start a promising soccer path, and right now save $30 on registration by using promo code BayernNSN30. Again, that's BayernNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Learn more, fcbayernyouth.com. Can I tell you, I am very excited to do some Arena Soccer League action. I got some coming up this Saturday, I think. I got a couple of college basketball games, and I'm heading down to Muskegon to do Arena League soccer. That's gonna be
Nice.
it's gonna be a good time.
That's
Got to do
awesome.
some MASL last year. That was really fun. Chihuahua in Mexico, who's no longer a part of the league, taking on San Diego last year. Shout out my color analyst on that one. But anyways, we had a lot of good times. So anyways, you can catch all of that action right here on the National Soccer Network. Arena League soccer is fun, man. It's like hockey. That's essentially what you're dealing with.
Lots of
There's no
goals.
lots of goals. There's no checking, at least intentionally. There's no checking. You might run into someone every now and again. It happens. It's a part of life. It's a part of the game. But it's a fun product for sure. But anyways, getting back into our conversation that we were talking about before we went to break. We're talking about transfer news. Some U.S. Players getting transfers. Alex Freeman. As well as we were talking about Jedi a little bit in there as well. But there was another theme that you were kind of touching on in the middle of that talk, and that was in terms of prospects, in terms of producing rather American-born players. There is a rivalry emerging in American soccer, and in my mind, Ryan, it's the reason why we're seeing this arms race on both sides of the coin. We're Major League Soccer. There's a new team, I feel like, every other week that's getting a new stadium or a new
Yeah.
development or something else big is happening. And then on the other side, in the United Soccer, or either MLS or MLS Next, same exact thing. MLS Next is spreading their wings. Here in Grand Rapids, we know all too well about that because we have this big stadium right off the highway that's taking up half of the city's parking, but it'll be an MLS Next side come to play in Grand Rapids. So just right down the street from where I'm at. But on the other side of the coin, the USL is doing the same exact thing. We saw the renovations in Pittsburgh. We've seen obviously the reception in places like Vermont, Annapolis is just those fan
DCFC.
bases. DCFC, those fan bases. Oh yeah, true. They had DCFC. Why didn't I think of them first? They're getting a brand new stadium too.
Sometimes you miss the
But
ones
there
that are
is
right in
this
front of your face.
exactly.
Happens
But
all the time.
it is um it is an arms race on both ends, and it's exciting for soccer fans because we get to watch this like natural rivalry, and I do feel like it is that way, form between these two different leagues. And it's like a throwback to when the AFL and the NFL were a thing. Like you have two top end professional football leagues in the United States. Obviously the USL and the MLS are not quite on that level yet, but the principle of you have two top end leagues that are competing for the best players, and it really just kind of it fosters an environment of competitiveness and building up and building forward and getting more people involved in the sport than were before. So I love, first of all, before we even get into this in terms of pathways or what we
The
believe
ABA and the
about either
NBA
side.
had a good little rivalry there. Flint
Yeah, that's
Tropics.
true. Now, obviously, they both ended up merging, but you know that to start off
Flint
the
Tropics were left
conversation,
behind.
they were, yeah. That's
Jackie Moon.
R.I.P. Yeah, but they still
Come
got the Firebirds.
city
They had a they had
for
a
peace.
they had a Flint Tropics night at the Grand Rapids Gold. That was very entertaining. I did not broadcast that game, but they had the bear running around. Dan got all up in the outfit. So yeah, it was funny. Good reference. Good
As you
drop
should.
from you. Good drop from you. But anyways, that competitive environment is helping kind of spur soccer forward.
Yeah, I would I would agree. I mean, MLS Next Pro was created because of the USL. And the USL,
Yep.
I think if you're cuz again, the question basically is if you're a young player because we've seen, yesterday what we saw with Gimmerice of USL to Europe.
Yep.
And we've seen a couple players go from USL to Europe. Jonathan Gomez went to Real Sociedad. Has he really done anything? No, but he went all the way over there. And
Yep.
then you look at Diego Luna. Diego Luna went from USL to the MLS, and now look at his story. So the question is, if you're
Yep.
a young player, what would you rather go, USL path or MLS path? And I will say this. I think if you're a young player, a young prospect, I think it depends what you're looking for. If you are looking for straight game ready, you strictly want to go to the game or you strictly want to play you want to mature quicker, you want to play against grown men, I think you go to the USL because that's what it offers you. And the USL, I think, is also a league where they want to give young players a lot more talent because of one thing. They can sell you quicker. They can sell you for lumps of money. You go to the MLS, they don't necessarily have to sell young players for max amount of profit because they already have so many big names already. You look at Inter Miami, do they really necessarily have to give an 18-year-old midfielder some time? No, because they have the players already in place. They have the senior players in place already, and that's exactly what they would rather do. The USL clubs would rather sell the younger players for X amount of profit, for a bigger profit than you would at the MLS. The MLS, they might give you some run-ins in the US Cup. They might give you some run-ins in some lower MLS sided games where you're playing against a weaker side. They might do that for you. But the USL is simply there to get you in, gets you some game time, and all of a sudden ultimately sell you for a bigger profit because they need the money more. That's why you see teams in the lower leagues of the top 5 leagues of the EFL leagues, the Bundesliga 2, the La Liga 2s, the Serie Bs. They want to sell those players because they're not making the money that the bigger clubs are making in those leagues. Like if you're looking at a championship side, look at Jude Bellingham, for crying out loud. Birmingham City. He already has his number retired, and he played like 2 years at Birmingham City because he went to Dortmund. They already retired his number. His brother Job makes a transfer up to Sunderland. Lower teams are to give some game time, take a chance on a younger player to ultimately then sell them for bigger amounts of money. I think if you're looking for more game time, you go to the USL. But also, you got to look at the MLS side. You're going to get better training. You're going to get better coaching. You're going to play against better talent week in, week out. And especially in your training sessions, you're going to play against you're going to play against better talent. But if you're trying to mature quicker, you're trying to get more game time, you're going to play against grown men, you go to the USL. So I think it all kind of depends what type of situation you're looking for. But if I had to say one personally, I think the USL pathway might be a little bit better than the MLS simply because of some of the things they've produced. But I don't know. I still think you go USL because I was almost trying to convince myself that it's the MLS, but no, I still think it's the USL. I think the USL pathway is a little bit better.
I'm going to talk about. I feel like there are 2 different sides to this conversation. First off, I think Major League Soccer is in the business of protecting their assets. I
Yeah, I'd
don't
agree.
think the MLS necessarily wants to be the team that just bleeds talent. You know, and it almost kind of reminds you of those like mid-tier college programs, right? To make like an American comparison, like you don't want to continue to bleed talent year in and year out. Like you want your team, your school, your organization to be the destination. And so for Major League Soccer, they are very much in the business of we need to protect our assets. We need to protect our best players. Not that we need to manufacture parity, but they need to have some level of parity, because if you just have, obviously you have the best player in the world in your league, and that's great, and that's a massive step forward, but that doesn't make a league, right? 1 or 2 players doesn't make a league. So I think for Major League Soccer, because they do treat themselves like the big dog on the block, you're right, Ryan. They're not going to be willing to let go of their assets or the players that they deem to be their most valuable assets as easily as a league like the USL will, simply because I think the USL sees value in those players signing big contracts or going over to Europe or producing those level of players, because it shows a level of maturity, and it also shows that Europe is now willing to actually look at the USL and go, okay, some of these kids are legit. It's not just a rec league, in other words. So that's the biggest shock in my mind. You know, it almost feels like someone going from a Division II program to the professional ranks. Like, is the USL what the MLS is? I don't think quite yet, but it's certainly getting there. And it shows when Europe is willing to, you know, teams from Europe, clubs from Europe are willing to make these moves. So from a prospect perspective, I absolutely think if I want to, as you said, number 1, play right away, number 2, make an impact right away, and number 3, not have to deal with as much in the way of, you know, contract and having to negotiate these things nearly as much. I just imagine there's more hoops to jump through with Major League Soccer simply because it's been around for longer. We've seen the USL really take on life in the last 5 to 10 years, but it's not quite structurally as an organization where the MLS is. Now they've made massive decisions. I mean, you think Tony Scholes that they brought over to be the new head of the new Division One level. I mean, they're really starting to put together an organization that can rival Major League Soccer. The other side of this, and again, the question was about prospects, but I'll even talk about like fans. Like from a fan perspective, I feel like the USL has done a really good job of creating a more authentic experience for soccer fans. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I think it's accurate, man. I think, the one of the things that is so charming about football in the UK and all that is that these stadiums are like literally built in the middle of neighborhoods. And I know I've said that before, but like that's, like right around the corner. Like there it is. You walk from the pub to the stadium, and the cheering sections, like they just seem like they have a level of almost crazy to them, which is like, okay, that even feels more authentic, like you watch, you know, it doesn't feel authentic. So I even think from a fan perspective, I think the USL rather is creating a game that like people actually feel like this is our kind of version of what the world experiences, whether that's in France or Spain or England or Germany, anywhere else. And so that's another level to that. But yeah, if I'm a young prospect and I'm a scrappy one, and I think the important thing is that Major League Soccer didn't get their hands on you early enough, because that's the biggest thing. Like if Major League Soccer gets their hands on you before the USL gets to you, especially if you're young enough, like that's why I think a lot of these leagues are going after and trying to target kids that are anywhere from 10 to 12 years old, because they're an asset to them. And they can build off that.
I think you're right about the authenticity of the USL. Like if we're looking at, and again, I feel like at some point we're gonna have to have a merger. I don't know when it is or how it'll happen,
yeah.
but
That's the natural progression.
Like they're just both the USL and the MLS are on a collision course for a merger. At some point, I don't know how it'll work. I don't know everything of how it'll all happen, because if I look at two of these if I look at two and by the way, this will be a good clip just saying MLS USL merger at some point. But if I'm looking at these two leagues, they're two vastly different leagues. Like we talked about the authenticity of the USL, and I think you're right. And we look at the MLS. The MLS is very Americanized, and I think we both understand what it means by being Americanized. You just have to pay a fee to get in. You don't have pro rel in it. You ultimately have a draft in it. We saw that with Donovan Phillip getting signed with a third-round pick. And by the way, Europe hates that there's a draft. Like, they ultimately hate it. But if you look at it, they're two different styles. Yes, there's an academy on both sides. Like, I feel like the MLS is kind of just flirting with being a European-like league, being authentic-like, but at the same time, they still want to have that American feel, like the NBA, the NFL, the NHL, the MLB. They want that still feel of it. But the USL, it just feels like again, if we gets to pro rel, because that's where they're heading. But I don't know if it's going to eventually get to that level because of everything and all the logistics of it all. But it just feels like it's going to be an authentic thing. And you're right about the kids. It's how do you reach the kids first? The USL, does the MLS? Like ultimately, like if you look at it, I think the USL is going to produce tougher players. I think in the grand scheme of things, I think in terms of being maturing at a younger age, getting more game time, and ultimately shipping you out for the most amount of money that they can. But if you look at the MLS, it just feels like it's a little bit greener on that side because of all the resources that you have. The first team that plays at such a high level in all the different players that are there, Heung-min Son, Messi, obviously, Suarez. We've seen Thomas Mueller, obviously, with Vancouver. So I think at some point that these two clubs or these two leagues will be on a collision course, and I think they'll start to intertwine the teams together, and eventually it'll be a pro-rel system. Do we get there? I think we do at some point. Does it happen within this decade? Probably not. but at some
Right.
point, I think we get there.
Well, and the other thing that I think the USL has thought about that I think they got to jump on Major League Soccer is, okay, there are more USL teams, I feel like, in more areas of the country than there are Major League Soccer teams. And I think that's another thing, is that they're targeting key areas where Major League Soccer isn't. Like, that's the part of this
Yeah.
conversation that we don't really talk a lot about because of just the landmass size of the United States and just how much room and all the different areas and the corridors and the different places that maybe are not getting nearly as much attention from a team like a league like Major League Soccer, obviously, because you're restricted in how big your league is. You can't just add new teams. Like, you would have to have an expansion. You would have to
Yeah.
have an expansion draft. Obviously, with it being a closed off league like it is in the United States, there are hoops to jump through to add more. Um, Obviously, you have MLS next. You talk about the necessity creating that, and they're growing as well. But I just feel like the USL has done a good job also touching on different communities in the country that maybe weren't being reached by the original league in Major League Soccer. We
Yeah,
brought
I
up
agree.
Vermont, we brought up Annapolis, we brought up different locations throughout the course of the US.
Louisville's
Like,
got one.
Louisville's got
Really good
one.
one. Um,
Detroit is a prime example.
yeah,
There's no Major League Soccer team here. Like Chicago is our closest option. So, like, Detroit City FC, right? It would be Chicago.
that
No,
or Cincinnati. Or no,
would it be
Columbus.
Cincy?
Columbus would be the
Well,
closest.
for you guys, sorry,
Oh,
Chicago for me because Grand
okay.
Rapids. But
Gotcha. Okay,
anyways, no,
I get what
you
you're
get the
saying. Oh,
point.
just real quick, 108. And as of early 2026, the USL is operating over 180 teams across its men professional and pre-professional divisions in the United States. 24 teams in the USL Championship, and then obviously the MLS has 30. Just want to put that out there real quick.
Yeah, yeah, and so you have, I mean, how many levels to the USL right now? So I know they're adding Division 1, so
There's, I
1
think,
championship,
4 or
2,
3. I think 4 or 3. Because you have the
4,
championship,
3,
2, Division 2, League One, USL. We'll do a quick search. But no,
something
I think
like
it's like
that. So
4. I think.
right. Well, and so you want to talk about Donovan Phillip? I mean, obviously he's in Major League Soccer now, but he was Flint City Bucks are I think they're a USL 2. They're a USL 2 league side.
4. Division 1, Championship, League One, League Two.
Yeah. Yeah. So Donovan Phillip was playing in the lowest of those 4 leagues in the USL.
Oh, there's 3 at the moment. There'll be 4 once the pro rel gets
Oh,
set.
okay.
And
All right.
yeah, because it says USL Division 1 will be launching as soon as the pro rel system. Championship is obviously the top. That's where DCFC, Louisville City are, and all that fun
Yeah.
stuff. So 3 at the
Right.
moment. 4 as soon as this pro rel system gets underway.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it as put together as Major League Soccer is right now? No. But I think the
Got the
USL
potential.
continues, it has a ton of potential, and they continue to do the things that they need to do that I think American soccer players, they always talk about the importance of in a business audience. Pull your customers, see what they want. And it almost feels like the USL in a way has kind of looked at the American audience and goes, what do you guys want? Do you want pro rel? Okay, we'll try to figure out a way to do that. Do you want soccer teams in places and parts of the country where Major League Soccer has had no business being in? Like, what do I want to do cheering for Chicago, FC? Like, why do I care? Like, yes, they listen to that. There are just certain things about, again, the authenticity of the league that they're creating that I think that they've received well from American soccer fans that have gone out and been like, hey, so no, good conversation, man. I mean, there are pluses and minuses to both sides. Obviously, the MLS does a lot to protect their assets, and so I think there's more security there. But in terms of playing right away, making an impact right away, in doing in a league that is fairly easy to break into, easier, I should say, the USL, I can't imagine a better place to do it. But let's take a quick break here on Inside the Game. We'll be back for our final segment here of hour number 1. I do want to tell you about soccer camps we got coming up. Another team coming to the United States, that is Man City. Manchester City Soccer Camps, proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, bringing world-class training inspired by Man City's global football philosophy to play across the United States. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, these camps focus on technical development, decision-making, and playing the game the City way. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code MCNSN30. Again, that's MCNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you, usacamps.mancity.com. Back live and inside the game, Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky. Sorry, commercial break a little bit longer there. Had a roommate that was stuck in the snow, so I was pushing him down the driveway. It came down in buckets again last night. I thought it was done. I thought it was over. I thought we were in the clear. But apparently I'm not going anywhere today, so that's okay. We'll make the most of it.
No snow here.
Lucky you, man. But welcome back on
We get
Inside the
flurries
Game.
now. But it's supposed to be in the 20s next week. I'm hype.
Ooh.
I think one's like 29 degrees one day, so hopefully some of that snow melts. Would be nice.
Man, how we go from this to where we'll be in a couple of months, I'll never understand. But let's get into our final topic here in hour number one before we get into our all sports chat today. A lot of good stuff coming up in the all sports section, but Wrexham getting another promotion, potentially getting another promotion. This has been, in terms of the best stories in soccer/football, at least last year, in my opinion. I think Wrexham, obviously, you got the TV show. You have the element of, Ryan Reynolds and the Americans that are going over there and buying the club, and then the story of them and just what they did last year, really, and is just one of the more inspiring ones, I would say, of the entire year. But they continue to make headlines. So what do we have going on with Wrexham?
Yeah, so I was looking at the graphic I made. It doesn't really, I guess it's more the money side. But no, they have in 4.5 seasons, Phil Parkinson, the since he's been the manager of Wrexham. This obviously is kind of a little bit after when Reynolds and McElhenney took over, because of course I think they took over a little bit after COVID, a little right around 2021, right around that time. But they appointed Phil Parkinson, I believe, in 2022. In 4.5 seasons, he has gotten Wrexham in 4.5 seasons, he's gotten them 73 places up the English pyramid. They currently sit in sixth place in the championship, and it's just incredible because no team has ever had 3 straight promotions. Wrexham did that. No team has ever had 4 straight promotions. Wrexham could do that. They're currently in sixth place. So what does that mean for the people at home? Well, the championship is if you finish in the top six, you are in the running to be promoted ultimately into the Premier League. 1 and 2 get automatic promotion. 3 through 6 play each other in a playoff. 3 plays 6, home and away. 4 versus 5, home and away, in 2 legs. And then obviously the winners of those 2 play in the most expensive game in soccer. That's what it's called. It's the promotion into the Premier League. But just let's take a look at the numbers here. I call this the Hollywood effect. Since these 2 have taken over, a 62% win rate approximately. Since these 2 have taken over, including 100-plus wins, including 3 straight promotions. Said that's never happened. And again, This is only the numbers for 2023, 2024. That's as far as I've seen. A 155% increase in revenue. Retail over $6 million a year. Club value, when they took over, $2.5 million all the way up to $475 million. And I think the crazy part of all this is 52% of their views come from outside of the UK and come from North America. We talked about I searched up some of the sponsorships that they have right now. TikTok obviously is one. United Airlines, Ancestry.com for simply just their training kits. They have Stoke Cold Brew Coffee, Expedia, Aviation American Gin, and Apollo Global Management. That's what they just have in terms of sponsorship. You just talked about the Hulu documentary. I think that's what put a lot of people on. They don't even watch soccer. They just like Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. But ultimately, this turnaround, I swear to God, if this somehow messes up with my Arsenal Gunners, I'm going to be pissed. But in the future, this is going to piss me off. But I don't even think they'll get to that level. I think the money just a little bit different. But the fact that they're able to go from the National League, which is the 5th tier, and struggle for years, struggle for decades on end, the club is just decaying. And you take these 2 who just have a dream from America, who probably don't know anything about soccer to begin with, to start off. And all of a sudden, they just take step by step. And this is different than a lot of the other American owners or minority owners. They're minority owners. They just kind of influx some money in here and there and create, honestly, just some publicity for that club. That's all that really is. But these 2 have decided to own a club like this, take it all the way to the championship. And the fact that they're even in the championship conversation in the promotion conversation to go into the Premier League this year, it's just unheard of. Like, this is, like, we talked about Indiana being some college football like, whose college football dynasty rebuild is this? Now, this is, if you were to take middle school me or early high school me, this is what I would do in FIFA. Take some team from League 2, get them to the Premier League within 4 or 5 seasons. But they're doing this from the National League. This is real life. What FIFA dynasty, what FIFA rebuild is this? Because it's unheard of.
There's a difference between being an owner and taking ownership of the place that you are in charge of. There is a stark difference between I own a team and I take ownership for this team. and I'm invested in the team and I'm invested in the community, and everything that I do is for the betterment of this group, right? That I've dedicated myself to, and getting them to the next level. I love your comparison, Ryan and Mac, to the rest of the American owners that are starting to break into the European soccer slash football scene. And again, we've seen more and more. And we talked about yesterday Americans that have stakes in soccer clubs and in places. You know, Tom Brady being another one of them. There is a stark difference between I have stake in an organization, but I got other things to do. You know, my name's on the thing. I spent the money. You know, if you need any sort of financial backing from me, I'm here to pay you, but I'm hands off, right? I'm a part of the ownership group, but I'm a hands off owner. Um, there's a stark difference between that and what we've seen out of Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney when they took over Wrexham. They have immersed themselves in the community. They have immersed themselves in the organization. They have done everything in their power, from the documentary to the amount of money that they've inserted, to being a part of the community, to really trying to do everything they can to, again, make themselves an open book to what this European soccer experience is, and accepting the community and therefore becoming a part of the community. I actually saw a European commentator not long ago talk about, hey, I love more than anything to bash on American soccer fans because I think they're ignorant. I think they're full of themselves. I think they think they're much special than what they actually are, but they don't know the half of it because they've never been here and they've never seen the game where it was born. Rob and Mac met them halfway. Or Ryan and Mac, I should say, met them halfway. They really have embraced everything that there is, and they've embraced the community around the team, and that matters a lot. And so I think that's kind of led to this unbelievable rise from the ashes. And now, does money have a part? Does money have a role in it? Absolutely. I mean, like, we can't. I don't want to sit here and mess around and be like, you know, well, anybody can do it with a dream and a goal. Yeah, they went there with a dream, but they went there with a dream and millions of dollars in their pocket. Now, are they good businessmen? Have they produced a lot of money? Yes. And the truth is, with money, is like, once you create a machine that produces it, then you're just rolling. And they've created that machine at Wrexham. So I'm not going to tear down everything that they've done. Clearly, they've done great work, but that is the part of it that I think even Europeans look at and they're like, okay, these guys are different. Like, they're not just here to say, okay, I spend the money, my name's on the list, you
Not
know,
like
I have
Tom
the
Brady.
note. Exactly, not like Tom Brady, because Tom Brady has 800 other things he's got. He's got, whoa, you got me? Did I
Can
cut
hear you,
out?
but you're frozen on
But
screen.
I'm frozen on screen. All right, here, hold on. Let me do this really quick.
Yeah, I think you bring up some really good points. With Tom Brady, yeah, he's got other things like oh, there you are.
Am I
Uh
moving?
Other things like commentate and talk too much on TV and do all
Oh,
those other
I
things with.
forgot you don't like Brady. I
I don't
forgot.
like Brady as an analyst. I think he sucks. I think he talks too much. I think Greg Olson should have had that role. I think G Reg should have had the role. And he should have. But no, if you look at it, Birmingham City, Wrexham, I think both of them are actually still in the championship. I think
Yeah.
Birmingham City, they're both in the championship. But I also wanna say this is, like, we, as an English Premier League fan, everyone shits on Man City because of money. Everybody shits on Man City because of the oil money. Well, you're only good because of the oil money. Yet everybody wants it. Everybody wants the oil money because you can just throw money at players and coaches and training
Yeah.
staffs and academy facilities and training facilities. You can do that. And yet in the lower divisions, everyone's been shitting on Wrexham. Yet everybody wants it. Everybody wants the takeover. Everyone wants the money takeover. I don't care what team you are. Like, if you look at
Everybody wants an owner that cares.
that too, everyone wants the college football NIL takeover. That's what they want. And
Yeah.
these two, who quite frankly probably knew nothing, I think they said themselves, know nothing about soccer, know nothing about, even
Right.
the tiers. Nobody knows about it. But they come in, they find they find a club that has a good community backing. Like if you look at everything around it, and even the city of Wrexham itself, how much it's grown, and all the
Yep.
businesses, everyone, all of a sudden, everyone's got a ton of money in their pockets. Yet everybody wants it. You can talk about,
Yep.
money this, you can talk about the Dodgers, you can talk about Man City, you can talk about Ohio State with their NIL money, you can talk about Michigan with NIL money. But you know what? Everybody wants it. Also, shout out Mark Griffiths, the play-by-play guy for Wrexham. If you ever get a chance and see all because their winner this weekend, the Men in Blazers put the commentary of his over the actual video.
Oh, that's cool.
Unbelievable
That's
stuff.
cool.
Mark Griffiths
That's
is a
really cool.
passionate, unbelievable play-by-play guy for Wrexham. But maybe we should get him on the show. Maybe we should reach out and be like, dude, would you want to be on the show? Because
I'm down.
Because he's
Yeah.
unbelievable. Listen. But no, that's basically what it boils down to is everybody wants it.
Yeah. And everybody wants an owner that's willing to risk it for the biscuit. That's really what it comes down to.
It's not even that. Just think about, even if you think about it, they didn't. I doubt that a lot of that money is influxed from just them. Just think about all the sponsors.
No, that's no, exactly.
And
but
using
they're
their
willing.
name.
What
That's how they got a lot of the sponsors.
Right. What I mean by risk it for the biscuit is doing everything you can to produce more money, to produce what you need to do to make this dream a reality. Like they hustled and got after it. I'm not saying like it was just from them. I'm just saying they have an owner that cares. They have owners that care, people that are invested. Even if I don't know anything about the sport, it doesn't mean, Ryan, that I can't look into who are the best people to surround myself with, because that would be my first goal. Like I'm not the smart one here, but I'm going to pay people to be in the right spots to do the things that we need in order to get to where we need to go. But definitely one of the more inspiring stories in sports right now. And if they go on to win the championship, or maybe someday the Premier League, that will be the biggest turnaround in sports history.
No, they ain't winning no EPL championship. I'll tell you that right
come
now.
on.
I don't think. Are they in the running?
We can all dream.
Oh, no, they're not really in the running to win they're 14 points behind. I don't think they won't win the championship this year, but they could definitely be promoted. And I swear, if they all of a sudden come in and win the Premier League, yeah, no, it's not happening. No.
I do think shows like Wrexham, though, and other shows like it are certain. We talk about growing the popularity of the sport. Do it through Hollywood. Like if you want to take a page out of the playbook, you got to do it through Hollywood.
But do you think that's more of just producing people to just watch the show rather than, like I mentioned the viewership outside of North America, but do you feel like just a lot of those, I feel like a lot of those fans that just watch the documentary to watch the documentary, they don't actually just watch the game. Like they don't actually just sit there like you do. Let's watch the U.S. men's national team. Let's watch an MLS side because we watched the documentary. I feel like a lot of those fans just watch it because of the entertainment.
Maybe
they don't watch it just for. I think they just watch it for the Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds portions. I don't think and the stories. I don't think they actually just watch the game.
Oh, could be. Yeah, could be. I would be curious to know that too. But let's take a step aside. When we come back, we got our all sports portion here on Inside the Game, episode 2 this week. Telling you guys a little bit about some of the camps that are coming up here this summer on the National Soccer Network. Talk to you a little bit about Man City as well as FC Bayern. You can also chat about Barca Academy, a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network. Official academy of FC Barcelona in the U.S., designed for boys and girls ages 6 to 18. Follow and replicate the FC Barcelona game model. Same philosophy used by Barca's professional coaching staff. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code FCB30. Again, that's FCB30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you, fcbarcelona.us/camps.
In Barca camp, I sing my song Grown on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up now for Barca camp.
Live on Sports Nation TV, National Soccer Network. Everywhere and anywhere you find us on social media, we are live. Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky. Ryan, are you getting breaking news? I always see his facial reaction to stuff on his phone.
News.
All right, okay. All right,
sources are saying La Liga sides Espanyol and Celta Vigo continue to have strong interest in men's national team and Real Salt Lake midfielder Diego Luna. A move happening here is unlikely here in January, as Real Salt Lake don't want to lose Luna right now, but they are open and expecting offers in the summer for Luna to go overseas. So, yeah, there just continues our talk on U.S. men's national team transfers, as it looks like Luna could be on the move again.
All right, taking a look, 9 goals, 3 assists in 2025, 8 and 8 in 2024. That's not including his U.S. men's national team stats. But, yeah, again, that is, to your point, kind of piggybacks off of what we were already talking about, former USL product, and now maybe on the move to Europe. I will say that has to be, if it is possible, that is the decision right now for Diego Luna. If you want to start to really kind of separate yourself in terms of the U.S. men's national team conversations, right? Because he was such a light in the eyes of American soccer fans this summer, right? When we were at our lowest, like having someone like Diego Luna, just obviously his scrappiness, his character, all the things that we love about him, watching him go to work in the Gold Cup, that was really the lone hope. People were kind of grasping onto that. I know I turned into a fanboy myself, and I think people would still consider me a fanboy, but I don't think Luna. Oh, okay, all right, I get it. Okay, all right, okay, whatever. Kid's the truth.
Say about
you got
Luna
a problem?
Can't disappear in big moments. It's the only thing.
Yeah, he did.
Say about him,
and he did, and he disappeared against Mexico, and I think, while the MLS tag isn't as damning as maybe it once was, we are using MLS players. You talked about Christian Roldan the other day and how he should play significant minutes. Obviously, he's an MLS guy, and we saw people blow up, the minute Mauricio Pochettino began playing him in those international windows. But this has to be the decision for Diego Luna, because if you want to change the reputation around yourself, scrappy, energetic, all these things, culture guy, that's great. But the only way you're going to change that in a lot of people's minds is if you prove that you can play and be productive over in Europe. So I think it would probably be the choice for him.
Some more breaking news this time.
Even more
in the football realm. We talked about him last week. Darian Mensah. He has reached a mutual agreement with Duke to get rid of his contract and hit the portal, and it looks like Mensah will be going to the U officially here in the next couple of hours or days, whenever it finally gets announced. But it looks like that Mensah and Duke have mutually parted ways and have agreed to a settlement. So maybe Mensah might have to pay back some of the university, which, again, I think is a very fair thing, and I think some of these mid-majors should start doing that. Start putting some tags on some of these players. But it looks like Darian Mensah also moving to a bigger team, and I think they might actually they probably play each other this year. Obviously, being in the same conference in the ACC.
ACC.
Let's see if it's up. They will indeed play each other on November 14th.
Wow. All right. Well, I mean, I agree, and I think these, the legal battles in college athletics, we're only going to see more of them when it comes to players and player movement. Something has to give, and much like we were talking about earlier with it, one of those things, Major League Soccer and the USL, them merging is only a matter of time. Another matter of time conversation that I keep having with myself is the bubble when it comes to NIL and paying players money. It's going to blow up. It's going to burst. Something is going to give. And I think, normally I don't cheer for the organization over the player. Like, that is, even leading up to NIL, in independent conversations and talking to other people that I know that have been around the college game, there was always an idea of paying college athletes was another one of those inevitable things. Like, it was going to happen. Like, you can't realistically expect these kids to go to college for 4 years, not work an actual job to where they don't actually make any money or any sort of income or build any sort of credit themselves. All they do is play a sport, and you just pay for their education, you hand them a degree, and you send them on their way. That degree is only worth so much. I understand that it's valuable to have it, but I think as we've seen lately, people are like, it's not necessarily a guarantee. Maybe once upon a time when our parents were coming up, it was a guarantee that you'll have a job and that you'll at least be able to build something of your life. Now, a degree, yes, it is far better than not having one. It doesn't guarantee you anything, right? So to bring these kids in and to get all this labor out of them and extract them and make the money off of their backs and not pay them anything, it was wild to a lot of people. So we knew that paying players was going to happen. It was an inevitable thing. But now that we've gone so far extreme to the other side, we also know that there's something inevitable at the end of this, which is this bubble will burst, right? The portion of college programs that are not able to compete or keep up, despite how hard they want to try or who they bring in or whatever else it is that they do, there's going to be a break, a split in college athletics at some point. But at the very least, the schools themselves are starting to stand up for themselves a little bit and go, hey, you know what? This is getting utterly ridiculous.
I think the NCAA is starting to stand up a little bit too. We've seen Trinidad Chambliss not be granted a 6th year or 7th, I don't remember what. And we also seen the UVA program or UVA quarterback not be granted a 6th or 7th year, 8th year. I don't even know which these
9th
quarterbacks
year,
are.
yeah.
And I think that those are I think they're starting to. I think the NCAA is starting to stand up for itself, starting to prove that they do have some balls. I mean, I don't know how long it'll continue, but I mean, at some point, I mean, if you're a college athlete, like I get it. It's probably a whole money thing. I'm sure that's why Trinidad. Who was the Virginia quarterback this year? But at some point, I think that we will have a governing body. Chandler Morris is his name. I feel like at some point we will have a governing body, and we'll actually have some restrictions on things. But I think at some point we'll get there. It just might take a little bit of time, and I think when we're gonna look back on the years of 2022 to 2026 now, probably 2027, we're going to be like, this happened. And I will say this.
Yeah.
And I will say this. Again, this isn't a bold take or nothing. I think at some point, football in terms of the conferences and the teams will be its own thing. Because I think at some point, because the basketball coaches have started to express this, that this whole conference realignment thing is the dumbest thing there is. And I think we're going to go back to some traditional way in terms of all the other sports. I think football will remain at what it is now because, I mean, you're traveling once a week. It's not like basketball, soccer, baseball, softball where you're traveling multiple times in the week. You're staying out. You're staying out on the West Coast or the East Coast multiple weeks. So I think at some point we're going to see that. That's just, again, matter of time. But I think at some point we are going to see that. And I think it'll be good to see.
Why is it that we can't figure out a system in which football can be a part of one conference and everybody else can be a part of a different conference or a different sort of alignment?
Because football is its own money-making machine.
I get it. So to that point, maybe we need to, like you were saying, just make it its own entity. Like, it is football itself. That's literally why you can get into some of these places, some of these other sports. Like you think about the University of Michigan. Honestly, if I was you and I lived closer and I had a free weekend during like a stretch of the school year where I knew there was stuff going on, like, honestly, I would just go to the campus and just walk around because like there's certain things you can get in and go watch for free.
Time of the year.
For it, well, yeah, that's true. But it like for extremely discounted rates, go watch high-end sports, other sports. Mostly because football makes all the money. Football makes all the money.
I don't think people are are walking and taking out of their free time to go watch Michigan field hockey. No
You
disrespect,
don't want
but
to
I
go
don't
watch
think
Michigan baseball?
they're
Come
not
on, man.
good. They're
Yeah,
not
they're all
good.
right.
The
They're
North
all right.
sucks. The North sucks.
They got
I was
2
gonna say
World Series championships.
when
2.
was
Yeah,
that?
they've been to 2, I think. They've been to 2 or they've won 2.
Yeah,
The
but then
60s.
Ward
Who's
effed it up
counting?
again. Ward effed it up again. He let the coach go to Clemson, and like, who's good? Clemson. All the coach wanted again. I don't know his name. I can recognize his face. All the coach wanted was
You don't want to go watch some softball?
no. By the
What
way,
about lacrosse?
nope, not doing that.
Why? Why?
Uh,
It's like hockey.
Nate,
But you're just running around.
some people aren't sports addicts like yourself and I. And I'm
What about
a
soccer?
sports addict when it comes to the big sports. You're sports addicts for it all. Like I'm not here to watch lacrosse and field hockey and all that fun stuff. You might be doing that, but I don't think a lot of people in the Ann Arbor area are gonna wake up one day and be like, you know what? I'm gonna walk over to field hockey and watch field hockey and spend $10.
You want to watch cricket?
Well, I could have.
Go watch
If you
a
go
cricket
to,
match together.
if anyone's watching, if you do want to go watch free cricket, go to Mount Pleasant. There's an apartment complex just north of campus where the Indian exchange students play cricket in the apartment parking complex like every single day. So if you do want to go do that, go to Mount Pleasant. You can get a game for free. You can just sit in the parking lot and watch them play. That's all I gotta say.
Sick. All right.
But no,
We're gonna go watch swimming and diving together. How about that?
You can do that.
I'm gonna get tickets. We'll go watch the divers.
I've got better things to do than watch swim and dive. But no, I think
Anyways,
I think football will
yeah.
be its own thing. It's gonna be its own thing, and it's like we should just call basically what it is. It's the NFL light. That's what it is. You can't say a minor league system because the teams don't go directly. The players and teams, the colleges don't go direct. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine if like Michigan football was like the Lions like
affiliate?
yeah, that'd be hilarious. Or like Ohio State. The Browns would become good, except at the quarterback position, but Ohio State would be an affiliate for the Browns, and you think like Cal, UCLA for the Rams and the Chargers, like. But no, I think we're gonna be moving in terms of the college game. I think we're going to be moving with just football directly. I think football will eventually just become its own thing. It's gonna become its own thing because I think for the smaller sports, in basketball's not small, but the coaches have expressed they don't like the travel. And I'll say this. I'll say this. If I'm an athletic director, I'm simply doing this. If I'm an athletic director, if I'm looking at my school, my teams here, my programs, I simply go to the field hockeys, the lacrosses, maybe the baseballs, the softballs, all that fun stuff, and I go, look. I go to the head coach and I go, look, I'm going to be taking some money from you. It's going simply to football and basketball. However, you're just going to have a lifetime contract here. You're going to have 5 years. I'm not going to mess with you at all, but the only thing I ask is, as long as you don't make a bad name for myself, for the university or the program, or for the logo in the news, we're cool. But the moment you do that, you're fired. I don't care about the results. I don't care about this and that. But all I'll say is you're given like 5 years here. If the results are like astronomically horrible, yeah, I'll fire you. But the thing is if you constantly say mid, you're not the worst product in the world. You can be here as long as you want, as long as you don't make a bad name for the program, myself, or the university. But I'm taking some of the money from your program and I'm putting it to where the moneymaker is, and that's called basketball and football. If you have an issue with it, you can happily leave and I'll bring someone else in. That's simply what it boils down to in college athletics now. That's all it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess we would have to go on a school by school basis to see which Peter is robbing from which Paul. But that's wow, man. You can rule with an iron fist, huh? Are you talking about Michigan specifically? You would go?
No, it's just like if you have
just in general.
If you have historically somehow a good program in one of these small sports, yeah, I'll put a little bit of effort into it. Like, if I'm looking at Michigan, like, their wrestling is normally really good.
But, like, I don't think you need to take money from other programs. I think you have boosters that fund, like, everything.
You
I think
could.
that's
I
where,
mean, based
like,
on some of the money, I mean, you absolutely could. If you want to
yeah,
keep, if Bryce Underwood all of a sudden, if we're looking at, we'll just say Michigan for this whole example now. If Bryce Underwood comes out his sophomore year and actually becomes the quarterback that we think he can be, like he takes a massive step. He looks like he could eventually become an NFL draft pick quarterback, and all of a sudden he starts being like, yeah, I need more money. But you need more money to invest also in the roster. You bet your ass I'm looking at the field hockey and the lacrosse budget, and I'm like, that's going to Bryce. Absolutely, 100%. I don't give two shits about what the lacrosse and field hockey team's doing. I do not
well, if
care.
you're talking about smaller colleges or, like, high school, yeah, I mean, this happens all the time, right? I think this is something that is common. However, no, man, I mean, the NIL collectives at a lot of these schools are massive. And they also have these groups that manage that money. And obviously, I think there's a certain pool for players that they have that isn't necessarily all the extra stuff that comes with if you're a star player, or if you're a 5-star, or whatever, what have you. But I don't know. Taken from the programs, I guess it all depends on what situation you're in. It all depends where you are.
If my star quarterback needs some more money, and I still got to invest in the rest of the roster, and I know that the money will even itself. If I know that if I take money from the lacrosse program and it goes to Bryce and he's happy, you bet your ass I'm doing it.
The hard thing is that as an athletic department, it makes you look a lot better when everybody's doing well. When you're producing 100+ Olympians, and across the way, Michigan State's got like a handful.
If football's good, if basketball's good, if I'm an athletic director, we're doing fine.
There's more to the world than football and basketball, Ryan. There's a lot of good things out there. You gotta get out and explore life a little bit,
I do explore life. It's called going for some runs, riding my bike.
There you go.
Going in the lake, being outside. Yeah, I'm not watching.
I'm not
spending $20 on lacrosse and field hockey.
What lake are you going to out there on the east side? Man-made lake?
Lake St. Clair.
Oh, okay.
The one that's a mile from my house.
Good fishing out there. Good fishing.
Good perch fishing. Good pike fishing. Good.
Good. All right.
Good bass. Good bass. A lot of good bass.
You got a boat?
My uncle does.
Uncle's got a boat. Okay, good.
I don't personally.
Perfect.
My next purchase will be a jet ski. Myself personally, I want a jet ski.
Really? You getting one of them stand-up ones or one of them?
No, it wouldn't be the stand-up ones. See, I
don't understand why people like the stand-up ones.
I do a lot of cooler things on. It's more X-gamey like, if that makes sense. You can ride a lot of waves more. You can control it a lot better. It's a little bit smaller. Whereas I say wave runner because like jet ski is standing up, wave runner is sitting down, but people don't like that for whatever reason. A wave runner, you're not as in control of it. Jet ski, you control a lot more. You can do much more flips with it. It's lighter. So yeah, there's a lot more crazy things. You can turn it into the goddamn X Games, quoting Baywatch here.
All right, moving on. Let's take a break. We'll take a quick step aside. We'll bring you right back for the second topic, talking a little bit about the MVP conversation. Also, we got Minter, McDonald, Harbaugh, all NFL head coaches. Was it really the signs for Michigan that won them that championship once upon a time? I think we both have a rant in the can coming up here on Inside the Game, but we'll take a step aside.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Back on Inside the Game, episode 216. I'm Nate Wangler. That's Ryan Glinsky. Ryan, I am watching a video at the moment of Lake Superior State University NCAA Division I hockey graduate who's living right now in Lufkin, Texas. I know you brought up the couple of inches of snow yesterday. He's actually skating across the highway with the skates on that he wore when he played for Lake State once upon a time. So.
Nice.
Just saying, man, it's icy down there. All right, we
got
it.
My buddy's like flying to Texas, or he's in Texas, one of the two, and he's talking about how these Southerners are freaking out because there's 1 inch of snow on the ground and his flight keeps getting delayed. He's like, do these people not realize that like you can still survive and live life if it's a little bit cold and there's a little bit of snow on the ground? Yeah, it's soft down there. And then I honestly think the South might be the softest area in the country. Like, if you think about it, they cheat in the college athletics. They pay all these players, and then the moment that it becomes a fair playing ground, all of a sudden it's unfair. We need regulations because we have car dealership money, not corporation money. This, and that. Well, yeah. Well, when you make the playing surface fair, all of a sudden you don't win as much. And then all of a sudden, let's start adding, because we can't win in football, we have to win in basketball. So let's start adding former pro basketball players onto our roster because there's some eligibility. And also, let's put a temporary restraining order on a judge where he's in the court where he's an Alabama donor. So let's put him there because we know he's going to say yes. South is so soft. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. But I will say, where do the best players in college athletics come from?
If you asked 10 years ago, the South. But if you start asking now.
Florida produces Florida, Georgia, Texas. Come on, man. Like they produce
Then
Louisiana.
Where's the Texas
football.
National Championships? Where's the Florida National Championships?
Just because they can't put it together doesn't mean they're not the best don't come from there. Florida, trust me. Florida, they just had Miami in the national championship. What are you talking about?
They didn't win.
Fernando Mendoza is from Miami. He's from like Dade County.
So then why did he go down south? Why did he go out west? And then why did he
wanted
go
to.
Indiana?
My man was a 2-star, and no one gave him a look, but he ends up going to a national
USF
championship.
give him a look? Why didn't UCF give him a look?
We can have a debate about this, but all I'm saying is that the only state in the Midwest that's worth a damn in terms of producing football players is Ohio and then the city of Detroit. And that's, I mean, yeah, Pennsylvania, you could argue, sure. I mean, as a state, cool, but no, man, they come from Florida and they come from Georgia.
Then why do they cry about every single
Louisiana.
thing when it doesn't go their way?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's all I'm saying, though. That's all I'm saying. Like, if we were to just go off of you just play with your state and you don't play with any other state, Florida, Texas, California, that's the list, and then it's everybody else. It's like the Grand Canyon.
Let's talk some NFL here.
I don't know. I just putting that out there.
Let's talk
putting that
NFL.
out there. You got beef with the South, man? What is it with you in the South lately?
I don't know. I just think they're soft because they finally get some snow, and it's like the world's ending. Like, dude, it's snow. You can operate in it still. It's not like you're going to die. It's just 2 inches of snow.
But they have things that also freak us the hell out. Have you ever seen a palmetto bug before, Ryan?
No.
Okay.
Palmetto bug.
Yeah, Google it. Google it. Go to Google Images and let me know what you see.
Oh, my God. It's like the size of my finger.
It's terrifying. Are you kidding me? If that thing was crawling on you in the dark, like, come on. If it rains outside, they all like come in through the gutters. Like, you can literally like spray down your house and like completely treat it for any bugs whatsoever, and they'll still find a way to get up in that thing. Believe me. Had them in an apartment, or not an apartment, a condo in South Carolina. Brutal.
So they're scared of bugs. They're
not scared of bugs. You're scared of bugs. You would not be scared of that bug?
Sure. Why do I kill every spider in the house? Because my mom and sister won't do it.
Well, yeah, you're the man of the house. Of course, you're supposed to do that.
I lived with a damn bat for 2 years.
Lived with a bat?
Yeah, his name was LeBron. He lived downstairs in the basement.
He paid rent?
No, he was a freeloader.
He's just hanging upside down and crap. He didn't come after you or anything? Wow.
He did.
All right.
He came up from the basement, flew up, got to the kitchen, made the living room, and flew back down because I was the only one that saw it. And then sometimes he hung out in the upstairs closet. And then you'd go wake up in the bathroom and he'd fly out and go back downstairs.
Yeah, well, you're just disturbing his peace. That's all. That's all.
He doesn't pay rent at that house. I can finally use my parents' line. You don't pay rent here. All right, let's get into NFL talk here. Let's get into some NFL talk.
Let's talk about it. MVP conversation starting to emerge. Who deserves to take home the MVP? I was actually reading an ESPN article this morning. Multiple contributors on it, but two different sides of the coin. So they had LA journalists make the case for Matt Stafford. Of course, on the other side, they had Boston area journalists put the numbers together for whether or not Drake May deserves the MVP. But getting into some of the numbers here. 46 TDs for Matt Stafford, 8 INTs. He had a streak of, what was it? I think it was 26 straight touchdowns without an interception this year. 20 something. I think 25, 26. I can't remember. 65% completion percentage, 936 in the playoffs with 6 tutties, 312 yards, 2 touchdowns a game. On the other side for Drake May, numbers are not bearing out in the playoffs, and you see the numbers there. I don't think that this is really, and I don't think it's really a conversation. It's hard in my mind to even try to attempt to make a case for Drake May. It's amazing reading this article. ESPN's like, okay, he only threw for 86 passing yards. He's 10 for 21, but yet his overall performance illustrated one of his best cases to be MVP. I know that as a quarterback, obviously your job is to be the commander-in-chief on the field. That is goal number one. That is why you're out there. Okay, it might not be exactly how many yards you can throw. It might be all of those other things. I think J.J. McCarthy was a great college quarterback. Do I think he was the most pure talented arm in the world? No, absolutely not. But I know that there is more to that. But a knack for making plays with his legs, uplifting his offense, 6-yard touchdown run, 28-yard scramble. So he is a threat to be mobile and to make plays happen. And that is, in terms of MVP and what MVP means, that means something. But is he better than the alternative? No. There is no way you can convince me that Matt Stafford is not the one that deserves this award in this conversation. Obviously, Josh Allen is another person that was selected for. Christian McCaffrey is another one on that list. But I just don't see another option outside of Matty Dimes. And I really thought that they were in line to potentially win a Super Bowl this year. So I'll go with Stafford. It was and we're gonna try and reverse that trend of Ginger's not winning Super Bowls. It's gonna happen. All right.
Yeah, that's a bit right now.
Just letting you know,
especially in Detroit land. If can Ginger actually win a Super Bowl? And looks like Sam Darnold has a shot.
One away.
Shot. I think they take care of the Patriots. I think they do. But no, looking at this, Drake May just put his name on the group project, didn't do anything, got an A. Like, if we look at this playoff run, you look at the Chargers game, not really impressive. If you look at the Texans game, not impressive. The Broncos game, again, there's an argument because of the conditions, but you still had a lot of time without the weather conditions. Second half, different story.
Yeah.
But I honestly think if we look at this Super Bowl, I think the Seahawks are going to put Drake May in a blender. I really do. But I also think the Patriots defense is very good too, and I think they'll put Sam Darnold. I think it's going to be a little bit of a low scoring, but I think the Seahawks ultimately win it by 10, 14 points, whatever. But if I'm looking at the body of work here, the easiest schedule in all of NFL, I mean, come on. I mean, looking at the numbers here, 15 touchdown difference. I mean, sure, you could maybe make the argument that Stafford's got better weapons. I think he does have better weapons than just Stephon Diggs for the Patriots and Travion Henderson and was it Ramondre Stevenson? I don't know if that's his first name, but I'm just looking at it. I think Stafford just runs away with it. And, I mean, if you look even at the playoffs, I mean, he was unbelievable in all the playoff games. Over 300 yards in 2 out of the 3, over 250 in all 3, a couple touchdowns in each one. I mean, if honestly, we could somehow just make the NFC, if we could just get rid of the Patriots, put the Rams back in the Super Bowl for Rams Seahawks, I'd much rather watch that in the Super Bowl than the Seahawks Patriots. But no, I just don't like. I don't think Drake May's that guy in terms of you're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. I just don't
The
think Drake May's win MVP. I think it's a very easy discussion that Stafford should win. I mean, I guess you could maybe make the argument that Josh Allen should be ahead of Drake May. You could even make the argument that Christian McCaffrey could be over Drake May. But I think Stafford, let alone is the MVP. And I was talking about my dad with this during the game, the Seahawks game. I was like, Stafford just reminds me of like Justin Verlander, like really good with the Detroit teams, and then all of a sudden starts winning everything once he leaves. I know JV's got 2 World Series, Stafford's got 1 Super Bowl, so not quite the same in that aspect, but it just feels like they win more when they start to leave, and it's just awesome. Love it.
Yeah. Yep, isn't that the truth? And I think of, when we talk about MVP, most valuable player, it is most valuable player in the National Football League, but you also have to consider what is their value to their team. And I think Matthew Stafford, as he goes, as offense goes, I think there's a certain reliance on his arm.
The one year he went down, they sucked.
Yeah, that is so heavy.
Shout out
pass
Baker
heavy
Mayfield on the Rams.
And it's so, but it's so oriented around what can Matt Stafford do with his arm. What he can do with his arm is the way that the Rams team, the way that they go. If he doesn't produce, they don't produce. So the value of him to this team, I think there's a couple of other quarterbacks I could probably put in Drake May's position who would have just as much, if not more success than what he's having right now, just simply because of how that roster is constructed, specifically on the defense. I think they were a really good defensive team this year. And I thought that's probably the reason they would get to the Super Bowl if they did. And we've seen that. And we talked about it, starting to lean more towards a defensive league. But the reliance on Stafford's arm to really, in a lot of ways, just kind of put that team on his back and carry them to where they got this year is the reason why, if I'm looking at MVP, he's the most valuable player in that franchise right now. Yeah. I mean, the way he's playing. So that's the part where I'm like, I don't think there's much of a conversation or even much less a debate in my mind about who should receive this award at the end of the day.
So if you look at Stafford, so before he gets there, when Goff was there, 11-5, 13-3, 9-7, 10-6, trade happens. Then you look at the year they win the Super Bowl, goes 12-5, wins the division, wins Super Bowl obviously. Then the year he plays 9 games, 5-12 in 2022, and 10-7 2023, 10-7 in 2024. And then this year, 12-5, loses the NFC title game. So Stafford's very impressive, and honestly, I mean, I know we kind of all said our piece here, but we could turn this back into a little bit of a Lions conversation. A little bit is how do the Rams, again, this is during the same time frame of what the trade with Goff and Rams and Stafford, I should say. So obviously different levels of where they're at in their timeline. The Lions go 3-13 that first year. Rams win the Super Bowl. And we didn't really have it. There was no really doubt that the Lions would suck and the Rams at least would be really good. And then all of a sudden the Rams win the Super Bowl, start sucking, and then they start to do their own retool. I wouldn't say rebuild, but retool. You lose Aaron Donald, you lose Cooper Kupp, you rebuild that whole D line, and then all of a sudden you're back in the NFC title game, and you're a drive away from going back to the Super Bowl. So if you're the Lions, you have your moment, and in 2023 you go to the NFC Championship game, you choke it. And then in 2024, you go 15-2, unbelievable season, losing the first round, and you don't make the playoffs this year. So, it just makes me a little pissed off watching that a little bit of the Rams. Again, it's not that I hate Stafford. It has nothing to do with the Matt Stafford aspect. The only thing that I disliked about it, and we kind of talked about this a little bit pre-show because about the Patriots, where dynasty sucks. All of a sudden, they get new head coach, new quarterback. Boom, they're back in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
But like it just annoys me a little bit as a Lions fan, and I think a lot of Lions fans have to agree with me on this, that you're in the same timeline as the Rams, and yet they've had, you could argue, more success because they win obviously they have more success because they win a Super Bowl. But since that Super Bowl, you could maybe make the case that they've had more success than you in the rest of it, and that just annoys me a little bit, knowing how close we were in 23 and how great of a team we had in 24. We didn't even win a playoff game. And it just annoys me a little bit.
Yeah. Yep. And it's I said that before. And even like the Chiefs, I think of them as like my biggest case study with all of this is like,
they'll be back.
For a period of 40, 50 years, like they were terrible. Like they were not good. They didn't go to the playoffs. They didn't win championships. They didn't, or Super Bowls. They didn't do any of that. Like they were bad for a long, long time. Now, if we want to go all the way back to when like my dad was a kid, then yeah, okay, they had some good teams. But outside of that, like it has been a long, long time. And then for whatever reason, right, they just get a new owner in there. They get Patrick Mahomes. They get Andy Reid. And then they start rattling off Super Bowls like it's nobody's business, like Brady was doing in New England back in the 2010s. Like this is an earlier. But yet there are organizations that have just perpetually been either in the cellar or 500 that have never once like just had that year of success and then a turn back. But it's amazing how certain organizations can just repeat that cycle over and over and over again. And even if they are bad for a year, it's just a momentary step back before they're right back in the conversation. So yeah, it is frustrating. Yeah. And if Stafford ever goes into the Hall at some point, kind of like we have these conversations about Justin Verlander, like, is he going in as a Lion? Of course he's not going in as a Lion. Like, of course, like, I feel like the pictures of him, he would go in as a Ram. I'm sure his Detroit days would be recognized, but it would be a cliff note in the story of Matthew Stafford's career. Much in the same way that I think if Justin Verlander goes in, he's probably going in as an Astro. And that's so hard. That's so hard to realize, is that Detroit has so many claims to fame, but a lot of them, they were just in the city for a year, or they were here for a short stretch of time, and then they were gone. And so I think that's also why people are so like guarded about Tarek Skubal and like their superstars, because this is a PTSD thing for the city of Detroit. Because we see these guys leave, and then they become superstars, and we're like, oh yeah, I mean that's the favorite pastime, is watching games, and former Tiger, former Lion, whatever it may be. I think that's why the Detroit fan base is so guarded with their superstars. Not the
Pistons' sake. I mean, they weren't like crazy superstars, but Chris Middleton and Spencer Dinwiddie. I mean, second round picks that you had, and they go on.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Dinwiddie was an all-star, I believe, and Middleton, handful of all-stars, and then obviously wins an NBA championship. But no, I think you're right about the Skubal take. Is the Detroit fans are very scared to lose their superstars. And I think what they're most afraid of is Skubal. Again, baseball I think is going to be so much in the air in the near future out after this year, and I don't really know. You really can't predict anything about what could go on. But I feel like if you were to predict anything, I think Skubal, if after this year, if he stays the whole time, like they have a postseason run maybe with him, or they don't make the postseason, they don't trade him at the deadline, whatever. If they keep him, and all of a sudden he doesn't want to re-sign, signs with the Mets, signs with the Dodgers, the Yankees or something, wins a title with, I think it's going to be PTSD, deja vu all over again for these Detroit fans, because there's been so many guys. Like I think what was it? The 2014 rotation or the 2013 rotation, all 5 of them have rings.
Yeah.
Like Verlander, Scherzer, I think Price was in there, Porcello's got some, Sanchez, like that just ticks me off. Like how great of a Tigers roster we had, and we can't do anything with it. And then you look at obviously with Stafford, he goes on and wins, and yeah, it's just luckily we don't have any Red Wings that have gone on and really done anything. I can't really think of anything. I think Jake Wallman obviously is a name that comes back recently because we gave away money. We gave away draft capital to trade him, and now he's good. And yeah, I can't really think of any other ones that can come to mind from the Red Wings, but notoriously with the Tigers. Notoriously.
We're going to take one more break. When we come back, let's get to our last topic. We like our rants on this show, and I think we both have some good rants as it pertains to this. But Harbaugh getting a new job, Jesse Minter getting a new job at Michigan coaching staff that won a national championship that started what is now this 3-year trend of Big Ten teams winning championships, in really forcing Paul Feinbaum, as some of us like to call him,
Did the signs
to actually admit that the Big Ten is the best college conference in the U.S. But yeah, did the signs really matter all that much? We'll talk about that more coming up next here on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
We just got done talking about the Red Wings. I'm watching highlights of Johan Franzen in the 2008 playoff run for the Wings. So old Johan Franzen. That was the group that I came up on. I was 12 at that time, so I remember that group fondly. I always used to play NHL on GameCube. I think it was NHL 05. I think that was the one that I was really hooked on. But yeah, great NHL series growing up. Anyways, getting into our final topic of the day here today, Ryan, you know what? I'm just going to let you introduce this one, and I'm interested to hear what you have to say about it, because I agree with what you are asserting in all of this. But, we talked about it before the show came on, so let's talk about it right now.
The signs didn't matter. That's it. The signs did not matter. All right, let's break this thing down. From a fundamental standpoint, shout out Kent Murphy. Michigan State and Ohio State fans. All right, let me put myself on full screen here because they pissed me off.
Go ahead. Yeah,
all right,
you.
Michigan State, Ohio State fans, you're butthurt that your football program couldn't beat Michigan, so you just latch on to this idea that the signs truly mattered. But let's talk about here the difference between the before COVID Harbaugh and post COVID Harbaugh. Harbaugh fired Don Brown. That's the biggest thing. What happened as a result of that? He goes to his younger brother, John Harbaugh, and says, give me a defensive coordinator or a defensive assistant that could be a good defensive coordinator for you. Guess what happens? A young 36-year-old or 35-year-old Mike McDonald comes over from the Baltimore Ravens elite defense. And what is he there? What is he simply there to do? Stop Ohio State's offense. What does he do? He somewhat does that. Stroud still threw for like 300 yards, but that's neither here nor there. But then what does Michigan do offensively? They get away from the spread that they were trying to do 2019, 2020 kind of time era. They get away from that. What do? That's smash football. They go back to the offensive line. They go to the ground and pound, make their quarterbacks a little bit some game managers. Guess what happens? Smash mouth football happens. Offensive line, Hassan Haskins, 5 touchdowns. And then the defensive line, too. Massive difference. Aiden Hutchinson, David Ajabo, like 12 sacks each. Big difference. Fast forward 2022. Now what do they have? Same defense as Mike McDonald leaves. Guess what they have? They bring in Jesse Minter over from Vanderbilt, also a part of that same Ravens Harbaugh tree. Same defense. What does he do? Shuts down Ohio State again. What else also happens? Ohio State becomes soft. Michigan's offensive line continues to dominate the Buckeyes. And then J.J. McCarthy said they couldn't throw the deep ball, throws the deep ball, gets things done. Basically what happened in those 2 years, Ohio State gets manhandled. Michigan State did win one, by the way. Ohio State gets manhandled. They're soft. Michigan's defense stops their speedy wide receivers. Hey, Jackson Smith and Jigba, how's your injury in that 2022 season? You didn't play in that one for some reason. 2023, all of a sudden, this is why Ohio State couldn't win. This is why Michigan State couldn't win, because Michigan was stealing signs. What just happens when this all comes out? Michigan State doesn't want to play Michigan. It's too scared. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to walk the quarterback over like high school and get the play called that way. Well, you didn't score any points that way. 2023, what happens? Harbaugh can't coach in Happy Valley. Harbaugh can't coach against Ohio State. And Tyrone Moore somehow goes undefeated in that stretch. The guy who DMs OnlyFans models during halftimes of football games gets it done. And then what happens? The great equalizer. Alabama is gonna really stick it to Michigan in the Rose Bowl, which you had for a play because JJ threw a pick in the first play, but it was returned. It was called back. What happens? That's right. Michigan's D-line in defense shows up again, stops Milroe. Let's get to the national championship game. You're gonna play against the number one offense in the country. Joe Moore award-winning offensive line. Michael Penix, top 10 pick. Roma Dunze, top 10 pick. Guess what happens? 1 touchdown. Let's just face it. Michigan had elite coaching, elite players during those 3 years, and all this is a cop-out for Ohio State and Michigan State fans. Why? Because you couldn't beat them. And that's all you can say for the rest of time because your schools, Ohio State, let's be real. We could put an asterisk on your last 3 national championships. Not PI against Miami. You need an expanded field in 2015 and 2024. And by the way, Ohio State, you didn't lose to Michigan in 2024. You don't have an Addy.
You script that out, or was that all that off the cuff?
No, it was right off the dome.
Fired all that.
No, that's like a couple years though. That's a couple years though of just.
I know you're building up to that. Hey, you and I have done 16 episodes since the revamping of this. I'm surprised you didn't, section out a little time leading up to this episode today. You must have seen something.
I should have just
got
muted
a fire
you,
underneath
off
you.
Screen. Just went my own way. Just gone
me
rogue.
out, man. You only got 10 minutes left. You should have just kicked me out of here. Yeah, did it yourself. But no, well done.
I think you like question of the day. It's a good one.
Sometimes I think that maybe this show would be a little more edgy if you and I came from different schools of thought as it came to college athletics. You know what I mean? Like if I wasn't over here, like, my man's actually making, he might be taking a little stretches here or there, just to try and get his point across. But, everything that you pretty much said makes complete sense to me. And the biggest thing that I always come back to is that if this was as egregious of a cheating scandal as people make it out to be, and I love when people use big words. That's my favorite. Ooh, the most egregious cheating scandal of all time. It's like, ooh, big words. Now blasphemous. Like you just learned that one today? Good. Look at you. You had to Google the word to use because you didn't even know what it meant. Just because you use big words doesn't make it any bigger than what it actually is. And the idea of teams cheating in college football in order to try to find an advantage, whether that be advanced scouting, whether that be whatever it may be, in using film and using other people that are insiders, that friends, connections in the industry to try and get you a leg up on understanding what is this team doing behind closed doors. All of that stuff, the espionage is going on constantly in college football. Because again, if you win in college football, everything else improves at your university. Everybody else benefits from having a good football program. And likewise, if your football program sucks and you're not selling tickets and no one's coming out, guess who struggles? The athletic department. Everybody struggles. Everybody. There is a drawback to everyone in that athletic department if your football team is not good. So what are you going to do? You're going to do everything you can to put yourself in the best position. There are other schools that were doing exactly what Michigan was doing until Michigan decided to do it differently. And then they had a problem, right? Because they found the nerd who was actually really good at doing this. And that really pissed people off.
Michigan's nerd was better.
So Michigan's nerd was better. Sign stealing has been a part of the game of football since the inception of the sport. Sue me. Did Michigan do what they did? Yes, obviously they did, and they I think they admitted as much. So they did cheat. Fine, if you want to call it cheating, I would admit to that. But is this something that is unique to only the University of Michigan, or they're the only ones? It's no, this has never happened before ever in the history of college football. If you live in a fairy tale land and you don't know what it's like to be inside of a locker room, or you just simply don't understand the sport of football, yes, if you are a casual, yes, this is probably the most egregious cheating scandal of all time. But if you know a thing or two, you might know that the NCAA was trying to flex its muscle, and they didn't like Jimmy Boy because Jimmy Boy didn't like them. And the thing that I love about Jim Harbaugh is he's not the type to play political games. He doesn't care about playing political games. He doesn't care about meeting you halfway. My guy thinks that the NCAA is Bush League because he saw what Ohio State was doing for years. He saw what all the other programs around him were doing to get a leg up, including those programs in the South that you mentioned episode after episode. And he goes, okay, well, if we're going to play by that game, we're going to play by the same rules. And if you don't like it, put microphones in the helmets, put radios in the helmets, make changes. You know, it was a witch hunt from the beginning, in my opinion. And if it was as egregious as people like to make it out to be, yeah, they would have taken a few wins away. I don't, unless you think Michigan has
That's
some
the
sort of
best part in all
superpower.
this.
Yeah. Anyways, so I rest my case.
Michigan State and Ohio State have both vacated more wins than Michigan ever has. Just saying. Just putting it out there.
Yeah. So did Michigan do it? Yeah. Do I think it's right to necessarily do it to the extent to which Michigan did it, or other programs for that matter? I mean, I don't know. Like, the thing is about espionage and spying is you don't know about it until it's finally released to the public. Like, but if you don't think that there are things going on outside of just practicing and watching film, like, do you understand the importance of football in the United States? Like, that's the part. Like, if I'm running the U.S. government, like, you bet you're behind I'm going to be taking a look at what they're doing over there, right? Because the stakes are pretty high.
Yeah.
Right. Same thing in college football. If I'm running a football program, if I'm at Notre Dame or Michigan or any one of these places where the success of my football program really could be either the success or the detriment of my time as either an athletic director or a head coach, winning means everything. So, of course, you're going to do everything you can. But anyways, moving on, let's get to question of the day.
Question of the day. Here we go. It is, of course, presented by Salt Athletic. I gave myself a little love here, put myself on camera, and all
Nice.
that fun stuff.
You look
But,
good.
Hey, your Aunt Nate gave me inspiration for this question of the day. And based on
all
what I
right.
saw yesterday. But Salt Athletic, an official sponsor of us at the National Soccer Network, and save 15% off by using promo code NSN15 to save that #1 smell-proof cleat bag that 100% works. Got it right here. Visit saltathletic.com today or scan that QR code. And if you are looking to just try to get a free Salt Athletic bag, head over to our Instagram, Nat Soccer TV. I just saw we have an updated profile picture on there, so shout out John for that. But here's how you win it. Trying to read the script here, and I've already said the first words. Head over to our Instagram, follow us, tag a friend, and comment hashtag NSN Salt Giveaway. It's that easy. One winner every single week. We have 21 bags, so you know what that means. 21 bags given away for the next 21 weeks. But here's question of the day. Should Diego Pavia be a horse jockey?
Ooh.
He was listed as 5'9" yesterday during his Senior Bowl measurements, and he was listed as 6 foot at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, clearly not 6 foot. I think anybody with 2 eyes can see that my man's not 6 foot. Ooh, well, how much does he weigh? I think that comes because what is the average size of a horse jockey? Now you got me. Now you got the brain cooking a little bit. So let me see.
Your aunt.
Horse. I don't know if she's up right now. That retirement life, man. 5'2".
5'10", 5'3", 108. I think Pavia could lose some weight. Pavia height
108 to 118. How
He's
much?
207, so he'd have to slim down quite a bit.
He'd have to drop 100 pounds. Okay. Hey man, if I mean, get on like Ozempic or something, you know, like I don't know, start doing commercials for like weight loss supplements. And then I'm sure he'll be down to like 118 in no time, you know? And then like maybe it can be like professional fighting where he can like cut weight before the weigh-ins to be a horse jockey, and then just show up and he's just massive and his horse is like, what the hell is going on? I can't do this. You're too heavy.
The guy stinks. I hate him.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I love existing in a world where on one side of the spectrum you have Diego Pavia and on the other side of the spectrum you have Fernando Mendoza. It might not be the most talented quarterback class of all time, but in terms of characters, I think we got a lot of characters this year. I think that's what made college football kind of entertaining, because it's like, you know, and then you got Julian Sayin, Sharon Moore in there, you know, you got obviously the whole thing with Notre Dame and that drama. Yeah. Like, I will say, you know, college football, I feel like has a little bit more in terms of like the drama side of things. And so, a lot of characters, but to go from Diego Pavia and his mom and his brother and like those people to Fernando Mendoza and God Bless America and, you know, Mr. All-American Kid. Yeah, exactly. All glory to God. It's very.
There's such good team over there. All credit to them, but all glory to God.
Yeah, you got a Bella Danger on the TV during the national championship game. What the heck is going on over here, man? Yeah, how terrible. I started paying attention last week. How could this happen?
Then Cam Newton's getting ticked that the SEC isn't dominant anymore. It was like chaotic here. I think we're slowly like losing college football, not because of the NIL stuff, but I think just the characters we're getting, the media heads. I think we're just like slowly losing. We lost Lee Corso this year, not because he was dead, but he got off the College Game Day. Pat McAfee obviously becoming such a dog. What are you laughing about?
Just the way you said that was hilarious. He didn't die. Don't worry. He's just not here. He's
not
over
on the show
there
anymore.
Now. You know, he's in the nursing home. He's not on the show, but he's still here, guys. Don't worry.
Also, before we go here, just know we're going to have some breaking news here on the network today at some point. So make sure you're paying attention to all of our social medias throughout the day. We are going to have some breaking news, and it'll be posted as soon as we get the official word for that. But stay tuned to the National Soccer Network all day today for that breaking news. It's big. It's bigger than Diego Pavia's height.
Some would say it's coming up momentarily. So keep your eyes and ears peeled, and we'll get that to you as soon as possible. But that's been episode 216, episode 2 of this week. Again, follow us wherever you find us on social media, National Soccer Network. And until then, talk to y'all tomorrow.
From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wenger bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real.